guys, how are you?
Hello. Well,
We're
excited
so
to be here.
Yes, we're so excited to have you and catch up. This is the first time we're doing any type of a video like this, and we're really excited to have the two of you, kind of like a after the wedding sort of series to catch up and just talk about the day and your experience with us. So we're so excited to have the two of you. Let's just kind of tell a little bit, who are the two of you? Tell a little bit about, your wedding day, and then we can kind of dive in.
All right. Well, I'm Carolyn. This is Vic.
that's me. Yeah.
We live in like a little suburb outside of Boston, but we got married in Newport, Rhode Island, which is how we got connected with you two. And our wedding was the best day of our life.
Yeah.
We pretty much knew we needed a planner right off the bat. Like we've never planned any sort of event, and like we know nothing about event planning, and then you take like event planning and like drop that in the middle of the wedding industry, and that's like a super intimidating thing and something you never have navigated really unless you're a wedding planner. So right off the bat, I kind of was like, I need someone to help me navigate this whole thing. So I was going into the calls knowing I wanted a wedding planner, but just like looking online and, everything's so heavily based off of like social media these days, you can really get a feel for someone through their social media, right? To some extent. So I was kind of reaching out to, a handful of people. I was like, okay, I like their aesthetic. And then you get on a call with them, and no one was really putting me at ease. Like, yes, I had confidence that some of these people could like plan a wedding and they've done it before, and I could see other weddings they've planned, but there was just like this level of like personal connection I think I was looking for, and I wasn't getting that on all of the calls. And then you guys came along.
That's so nice to hear. I feel like especially for us, because where it's so important to us, like that's something that we look for too in our clients. I think as much as sometimes we're getting interviewed, like we're kind of interviewing clients a little bit too, just to make sure it's a good fit, because we work together so closely for so long, and it's like such an emotionally charged thing.
Yeah. And I think something unique too, which I don't think I ever told you guys this, but I mean, I kind of knew like the feel I wanted for my wedding, like right off the bat, but you guys didn't really have anything on your social media reflecting that. So
true.
I was going into the call, like knowing you guys had this like kind of elevated like style and taste. You can definitely get that right off the bat, but I wasn't necessarily seeing in the pictures anything that I was like, oh, these are like all of my inspo pics. Like that's not how it was with you guys. But I just think right off the bat, you guys just kind of put me at ease. I let you know like what our budget was right off the bat. And you immediately took that off my plate and was like, let me make you a sample budget. Like I didn't even say I wanted to go with you guys yet, but you were like, let me just take that off your plate for you. Just let you know what it's going to look like. And that was like something that was so important to me. I was like, I didn't even hire them yet, and they're willing to help me. Like that says a lot,
I feel like what you were trying to like get from talking to other planners is that you weren't just another wedding to add to their portfolio, that this wedding actually meant something, and that this planner was going to actually care about your thoughts, feelings, visions, and everything that came along with that. And I think that's so important to Sarah and I when we are also talking to potential clients. Like, it's not just business for us. This is a relationship, but this is also something that we really value ourselves and put ourselves on a really high pedestal to our clients, to let them know that we are so serious about their day, and it means just as much to us as it means to them. And I hope that's what you got from us.
Totally. No, that's
perfectly put.
Concisely put. Yeah. That's what I was trying to say.
In 3 seconds.
Because we know you so well. That's why I know what you're saying.
I think it's really interesting what you just said about the design piece too, like not even seeing exactly what you wanted. I think that speaks to two different things that are super important. Like, we are inundated with inspiration all the time, obviously, from a lot of different sources from Pinterest and Instagram and other people's weddings and people looking at past work and then wanting to sort of like replicate that past work. Yeah. And I think it's really interesting that you were able to kind of look past that, because I do find that a lot of people are looking like, can you do this type of wedding that I have? And you put the trust in us that even though we didn't have something that, you know, was your exact wedding, I think that is twofold. It's one, that we can create something that's never been done before that you can't even find pictures of, because we're just truly getting to know the two of you and then putting your style in all of the decisions that we're making, but also that you were able to just be like, no, I trust these people first to explain my vision and then let them carry it out, kind of a thing.
Yeah, because there was definitely people I looked at that there was no pictures of what I wanted the feel for my day to be like, and I did not have faith that they were going to be able to execute that.
It would have been the same as what we saw.
Yeah, except like with maybe a black table.
Right.
You know, like,
yeah.
So, I don't know. I just think and like, I mean, even like Mavinhouse's Instagram as a whole, and not like your personal Instagrams, like you just get this like feel of like elevated style. I don't know how else to say it. And that's not what you get from everyone else's Instagram. And that's kind of like for us, for me, what's that you guys from the others.
At the end of the day, like I am so happy.
I know. I mean, and also I gave you guys no inspo pics. I gave you guys not much to work off of.
And it was so nice. Yeah.
So nice. So nice.
I have no input really besides like it was
so
freaking
nice.
phenomenal, and you guys like just steered us in the right direction. Like I can say, like obviously Carolyn has cared about this process a lot more than me as far as making sure it was perfect. At the end of the day, like I wanted it to be perfect for both of us, but I know how much you cared about it. So for me, I was like, that's great. I had like 2 very small requests and they were in the wedding. But at the end of the day, like her not being stressed out and her feeling calm, cool, and collected, like made it easier on me. Do you know what I mean? And it just made everything feel smooth and nice. And so thank you.
Enjoy your engagement, you know,
not feel stressed, like not have to overthink things and worry that it wasn't going to get done. And it was nice.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the other huge part of what we do. You can get so caught up in all of the details, as you guys know. I mean, there's so many decisions to be making. Like money is stressful, you know, making sure you can visualize what we're even talking about is stressful, you know, like sometimes when we're putting things together that have never been done before, you don't have a picture or something. We're just asking you to trust us. Right. And that can be really challenging for people, you know, that don't believe us, or I don't know, they just feel like they need to see a picture of what they're going to get or whatever it is, which is totally understandable. But it allows you to relax, I feel like, in a way that you can be a little more in the moment and be leading up to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the design stuff, because I feel like this design was something that, like, I know we are so immensely proud of. And like to this day, I don't think I probably will ever design a wedding like this again, because it was so out of my normal realm, just because I honestly do so many tented outdoor weddings and stuff like that. And so being in a ballroom that you didn't really love the way it looked, you know, from our very first meeting there was a challenge, but it was really exciting to me because you guys had such a cool vision. So like, it's like, I don't know. I just feel like I love looking at the pictures. I love looking back, because for me, it was like a stretch, you know, it was like, I really need to get in their heads. I really want to pull together what I know that they see and their style and like blow it out of the park.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's all. I mean, that also speaks to why we needed a planner. Like we knew we wanted to get married in like a resort type place where our guests could stay on site. Like that was really important for us to have everything on site in New England. It's not terribly easy to find, actually.
Yeah.
Like I really didn't want to have to deal with any transportation, and that's what led our decision making in the venue. And then you get into that ballroom and I'm like, okay, well, I kind of want like the tented feel, but in a ballroom. And I definitely don't want to be in a tent. I want to be in this ballroom, but I also hate X, Y, and Z about this ballroom. So, like, I don't know how to fix that, but I feel like, you know, someone out there does know. And I need to find the right person to help me do that.
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, I just can't like even commend you guys enough for how you transformed. And like truly, it was your vision at the end of the day. I mean, it was our vision, but like you're talking about, we gave you no inspo pictures and you somehow like got in our heads, figured out what we wanted and what we did, how we envisioned our day and just like executed that. And that ballroom just looked completely different. I know. I mean, and like, we kind of tasked you guys at taking a really like bright and airy ballroom in the middle of Newport and making it like modern and like kind of moody almost.
It was.
Dark,
you know, and we wanted to like scale back on that like coastal feel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not an easy task. I mean, you made it look very easy, but I mean, I know how much like thought went into it. And I will literally never forget when we were on our site tour with you guys. And we were standing in the ballroom and Sarah was like, so I was just like, I woke up from a dream last night and I just was like dreaming of these mirrored tabletops. And like, that was just it. And like, that has stuck with me forever. Cause it's like, you were dreaming about our wedding. Like, that's how much you care.
I dream in weddings. Yes, I really do. I mean, I feel like it's so weird because as much of a challenge as it was, for some reason, it was also very easy to see it. Like
it all come together.
Yeah, like I remember putting together the initial inspiration board and like not having a really hard time coming up with the general direction. I know that obviously we went through like a ton of different iterations of rentals and like pulling the actual pieces together, but the vision, like I can see this for some reason. And I really do attribute it to the fact that like we got to know you guys and I just could feel what you wanted. Like I don't know. Like I don't know how to put it any other way because it clearly wasn't anything concrete I was going off of.
Right. I don't know. I just agree with all of that. Like it felt sometimes like I was asking a lot of you. Like, I need you to transform this ballroom and somehow cover up these huge chandeliers that I hate. Like, I know that's not an easy ask,
and
but
stay
I'm
in
asking,
budget.
Yeah,
And stay in the budget.
Good luck.
But like, it never felt
We
like
did
you
it.
guys were like grasping for ideas or like didn't know how to do it or were like super like problem solving. Like, it seemed like it was never super difficult, if that makes sense. And like, it was just nice to be able to see that. Like,
Okay, let's do some rapid fire questions. Are you guys up for rapid fire?
yes.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
What is one experience from your wedding day that you wish you could relive?
I mean, it's the ballroom reveal.
Of course it is.
And I feel bad it has something to do with Vic.
You can give two. It's fine.
Right. So mine is the first look. So I cried on the first look.
Yes.
She cried on the ballroom reveal.
Yes.
Okay,
I love
wait,
that first
and then
look.
we said rapid fire, but we have to talk about, Vic, you have to talk about the first look because you didn't want to do the first look.
I didn't, and I'm so happy we did. So thank you for convincing us. But I didn't want to do the first look because out of like, you know, just the old school, like I want to see her coming down the aisle kind of a thing. And at the end of the day, I'm so happy we did because I bawled like a baby, and that would have been terrible had she been walking down the aisle and every single picture is me bawling my eyes out. So I'm glad we did that, but I didn't. You guys also, when we talked about like with the photographer and the pictures of that, it just made a really cool experience. So I'm glad we did. I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think actually one of the reasons why I was steering away from the first look was like, I didn't want my first look on the seawall in front of the water. Like, it never felt like us.
Mm.
And so timeline wise, I did want to do a first look so that we could attend cocktail hour, but something always like seemed like a little bit off about it. But I was like,
Yeah.
let's just kind of do it to do it.
Right.
And then to have it be like in the parking garage
I know.
It was, like, so
Sick. It was
perfectly
so
us.
cool.
Like those are our favorite pictures. Like it
Right.
was just so unreal.
Yeah, I think too, like the reason, so we didn't do our vows at the altar, which is something else that I think speaks to the fact of why you didn't want that first look to be like with everybody. Like I think it was very much something like we wanted to experience together, and people looking at me and then looking at her and like, what is her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they would have been looking at me like, somebody give this girl tissue, because the snot that is dripping out of her nose right now, the tears streaming down her face. So yeah, I think it speaks to the intimacy of like how we really wanted things to be, which then, you know, played into the decorations and, you know, all that stuff. So
Okay, good. That makes me so happy.
Okay. On the count of 3, describe your wedding day in one word. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
perfect.
Magic.
Oh, that's so cute. I'll do the next rapid fire question. How about that? Okay, so now that we're coming up on your 1-year anniversary, what has been your favorite part of marriage so far?
I think for me, my favorite part is that nothing has changed. Like we're still the same people. Like we still pretty much have the same routines, you know, and I just love that. Like there was never an expectation of change, but nothing's changed, and I love that.
Yeah. I think it's fun to just plan like the next things. Like you get engaged and everything is about planning the wedding, at least for us. And I mean, I think that's fair to say for a lot of like newly engaged couples, you want to dive right in. And that took up a lot of time, but now it's like, we love our wedding and we love reminiscing about it, but we get to plan everything else that like life has to hold for us. And, you know, like Vic's saying, nothing has kind of changed between like the two of us, but I don't know, it's just
exciting to
bigger and better and exciting like new adventures.
You just said that so perfectly, and I can relate to it so much because like obviously I got married shortly after you guys, and I feel the same way. Like nothing has changed. And I do think that people sometimes set expectations that you're going to be different people, like you know, like that something, I don't know, miraculous is going to happen or whatever. But I think that the sameness is almost like more, that you don't change, and that it's just like, okay, we're kind of like been doing what we're supposed to be doing. You know?
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, let's close out with just talking about your beautiful, beautiful feature in brides, because I feel like it for me, and I hope for you guys, was just like the icing on the cake to what was such a beautiful day, project, everything. And to get to relive that and have it acknowledged in such a big publication was, you know, a career highlight for us, and I'm sure really fun for you guys.
You know, family and friends will be like, oh, like, you know, that's so cool. Or like some colleagues will be like, how did it feel to like be in a magazine? Or someone to just highlight, like, this was actually like a beautiful, perfect day in itself. Like, that's really awesome. And like, that's really cool. And I think, you know, what we kind of took out of it too was we really wanted to highlight like all of the work from the vendors. Like that was almost more important to us about the article than like taking our little 5 minutes of whatever you want to call it.
But also talk about how you got recognized on the airplane.
We were going to Puerto Rico, and the flight had been delayed like 4 hours. I mean, I was not in prime form, that's for sure, like not looking good that day. And there's just this lady walking up and down the aisle, and she just stops next to us, and she's like, so can I just like ask you guys something? Like, were you guys just in Brides Magazine? And we were like us?
No, yeah,
pictures. I'm on vacation.
There's no way.
I was like, this can't be real right now. But I mean, our families, laughed so hard at that story because it's just
so funny. But
it was so nice though that like people did see it and like read it, and she like knew things about our wedding as like a complete stranger. Like that was kind of a cool experience.
It was very cool. I mean, it was really neat. It was.
Hey, well, maybe we can just, wrap up here. We thank you guys seriously so much. This was so fun. I hope that we get to do this again. We're so grateful for you guys.
Just before we officially end, there's something to be said that a lot of my favorite moments included JK on that day. carrying my dress to the aisle, or like, I don't know, like when she took me to Pete, like my preference was that JK would take me to go to the bathroom and no one else. And I only went to the bathroom with someone else if I really couldn't find her.
Oh,
I just wanted to say that because I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that sometimes goes unnoticed, but like
So true.
we notice it all.
Thanks.
We love you guys so much.
We love you.
We love her. We love
So thank you
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.